Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream again. Are we ready for round 2? So yeah, we're just going to be continuing on with the alchemy changes that I started working on earlier. I started editing the video, the devlog that's going to be coming out this week to announce the public playtest of Alchemortis. So I taken a break from editing because I don't like editing at all, and we'll be just working on the game some more because that's way more fun. But yeah, I'm going to skip the ads for today, but I just want to mention that the links are in the description below for all the things about the game, all the ways you can support me in the game. And again, the playtest is available right now for Patreon members, so you can subscribe to Patreon to get access. But the playtest will be playable by everyone starting on Friday, so you don't need to support financially. And that's, I think that's it. That's, there's the mini ad versions for you. But anyway, let's get right into the code. So basically picking up right where we left off with the alchemy system here. The goal is to make this a little bit more predictable by reducing some of the randomness. And this is going to have the side effect of making reagents, I think, also a lot more useful. So yeah, we will see how it goes. When I stopped this morning, I was having a problem with the negative abilities not carrying over properly. I think what's kind of messing me up here is that this get ability data for card, this is probably just going to have to be redone completely. So what I think I might do is I might just remove this section, and we can rewrite it as necessary as the code takes shape. But let's solve one problem at a time for now, and we'll just figure out how to get this working in the way that we need to. Okay, anyway, hello Ninja Link, welcome back, good to see you as always. Hello Mabs Games, hello, hello. It's time for game day once again. Hello Jackie Daytona. Good afternoon from cloudy Minnesota. Welcome Stray Pointer, good to see you. How do you make a pixel perfect camera in Godot? I don't know what you mean by pixel perfect. So are you saying like the window resolution? There are a couple of options, like so in Godot you could set the viewport or the stretch mode to viewport. That will get you pixel, like low resolution chunky rendering if that's paired with a low resolution. As far as the camera goes though, yeah, I mean the camera, yeah, I guess I just don't know what exactly you're after. The camera should be pixel perfect already, but maybe it's the case that you have a window size that is not divisible by a power of, or it's not a power of 2 window size. Is that the way to put it? And that could create a situation where it's not pixel perfect. Godot does have settings for that. You can change the, I forgot what it's called. You can change the scale mode to integer. And so what that will do is that will prevent the viewport from scaling in a non-integer multiplier. I already broke this, so hold on a second. Well, I can't show you that right now, but that is something that you could do to keep it pixel perfect so that if you have a player that changes the window size or is trying to full screen it on a monitor that has like a weird resolution, you can use that integer mode to ensure that the canvas is always scaled in a way that allows for pixel perfect rendering. So those are some options to you, or available to you. Hello Ataxic, welcome. Bubblegum Lord, hello, hello. Matthias, welcome to the stream. Mode viewport, aspect keep, and also snap 2D transforms to pixel. Yes, those things are the ones that you want to set for sure. Well, the aspect doesn't necessarily need to be keep, but it's certainly easier to do that. Anyway, so I got rid of this get ability data for card, and then that's going to change all this stuff. So let's just do 1 and 2 here. I will just build this straight up, and then we will refactor as necessary. Okay, so we've got all the positive abilities to add here. Now what we need to do, original negative abilities to take. So now we need to calculate the desired ability count. So we have the stability, base card dot cell count. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say var total negative abilities needed is equal to mathf.max 0 stability. No. All positive abilities to add dot count minus stability minus negative abilities to remove. Okay, original negative abilities to take. We got to pass in that total negative abilities needed there. And then we're going to do, here we'll move this up. Okay, so var remaining negative abilities to add is equal to original negative abilities to take dot count minus, or no, total negative abilities needed minus that. And again, we're going to do mathf dot max. I actually don't think that this is ever going to be below 0, but we might as well just put that in there. The remaining negative abilities to add. What is going on? Thank you. Okay. This is completely broken now, so we'll just do this for now. Gonna have to rewrite that, but let's see if that works. Are you committing to the playtest branch, or are those just general improvements? So all the stuff that we're working on right now is just going into the master branch. So the playtest branch is its own thing. And yeah, so all the new features, the priestess and everything, that will not be in the playtest. But we did push a fix to the playtest this morning, which was like not necessarily a game-breaking bug, but it was still a noticeable bug. And so we got that fixed. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so we've got 4 abilities on the card, 3 negative abilities. So that definitely works. Now let's see if I alchemize this again. Oh, this copied the negative poison. That's funny. Okay, anyway. So we go here. Now this has 4 negative abilities, and it keeps all the original negatives and just adds 1 new one. Okay. So I think that's all good. It seems to be working anyway. Hello, Kiwinium. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. So this preserved abilities, this needs to be on a per card basis as well. Okay, so let's do private dictionary base card list base composed ability card to preserved abilities is equal to this. Let me see if I can do this correctly. So we got the preserved abilities here. I think what I'm going to do is this, let's do list base composed ability, preserved abilities. Why is it not working? Anyway, preserved composed, there we go. Remove that. So we've got the preserved abilities. Let's move this down here into this section. Oh, shoot. All abilities to randomize. I actually don't think that this needs to be here anymore. I don't think that logic makes sense with the way this is changing. So we've got our preserved abilities. Card to preserved abilities. Card is equal to preserved abilities.where card get base composed. So we basically are just trying not to duplicate any abilities that are being preserved. So what is the reagent that I think is it the newt tail? Let me see. Alchemy preserved ability type. Right. So we're going to do the newt tail. We'll try that. I have an error here. Where's the error? Oh yeah, here. So var card preserved abilities is equal to... Actually, I don't need to do that. I can just do this. Okay. Let's give this a shot. Let's just add a couple of newt tail, newt tail, and then we'll do skeleton mage. So what I should see is that I should be able to take all the fire abilities from a card and add them to all the other outputs. So let's see. That might be very powerful, actually. I also want to skip the menu. I don't care about no menu. Okay. All right, so we've got the newt tail. We've got the skeleton mage. So let's do this first. Let's do a bunch of flint with the mage. Okay, so we've got 3 fire abilities here. Now if I take the alembic and I put that... Oh. If I take the alembic and I put that here, and then I do the newt tail, all fire abilities of adjacent cards are preserved. So let's do that. So what I should see is I should see that what I'm expecting to happen is the skeleton mage will gain this poison ability from the alembic, and then the alembic will gain all of the fire abilities from the skeleton mage. So let's see what that does. Ooh, look at that. Oh wait, I gotta apply 6 fire twice. Right, so I need to actually include this logic in here. So card of preserved abilities, but I need to get rid of any preserved ability needs to be removed. Any preserved ability needs to be removed from this all abilities to randomize. I mean, it doesn't need to be a hash set. I think it's fine. So we want to remove, well, actually, is that right? Let me think. Is that right? So I'm excluding all the preserved abilities. No, I think that's okay. I think that's right. I'm excluding all of the preserved abilities from the pool of all the abilities that can be pulled from, because those are guaranteed in the output. So this newt tail is going to make sure that the flame or the fire abilities coming off of the mage are always present in the outputs, which means I need to remove all of the abilities being preserved from the pool of random abilities that are pulled from. So yeah, that's definitely what I need to do. So we'll just do this again. Let's do the newt tail here. There we go. So now it's got all the Fire Mage's abilities. However, no, that's correct. So it only has 1 negative ability, and this has 2 negative abilities. Right, okay. Cool. So now let's do another round of that. Let's grab this. Let's do gold. Let's do 2 gold. Let's put the rat in here, and then the newt tail again. And let's see what happens. Nice. So yeah, all that fire is being preserved. Oof. I think that works. Yeah, I think that's working. Okay. That's good. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back from both sides. I like that interaction much better than what I have experienced in playtest. Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm liking it too. And the turn cooldowns are not being randomized either. So I think that should help quite a bit. So like, for example, this mosquito swarm is very powerful now, and it only has 1 negative ability, but it still has the 11 turn cooldown. So that should help quite a bit, I hope. Look at all that residue. Anyway, yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that works much better. The main problem now is I need to be able to accurately get the count of negative abilities that are going to potentially appear on cards. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit tricky to write, I think, with these new changes, but that's okay. Okay. Add reagents to support modifying turn cooldown of outputs. Add reagent to support stripping abilities from outputs. So that's reagent stuff. I think turn cooldown. Yeah, turn cooldown is going to be a good one, but I don't necessarily need to do those right now. So I'm just going to add those under alchemical reagents here, if I don't already have it. Oh, I need to stabilize the enchantments too. So let's do, let me add this first. Okay. I'm going to modify this now. Let's get rid of this. And this is going to be preserve enchants on outputs. So we're not going to randomize the enchants either. So if you throw an enchanted card into the alchemy, you will get your enchantments back out. I guess I'll just commit this right now. Yeah, so fix alchemy negative and preserve abilities. Cool. All right. Hello, Wuius. Welcome back. Good to see you. How are you doing? All right, let's fix the enchantments now. So enchants to add, this is wrong. So we're going to get rid of enchants to add. And then up in here, we need to, so enchants to randomize, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to do private dictionary, base card, list enchant, base enchant. Let's do card to original enchants. And now we've got to set that up. We get rid of this enchants to take here. I don't know why the enchantments are being added last, but I guess it doesn't matter. Card to original enchants, input card. Okay. So now down here, card to new pos for each of our card and non-reagent input cards. Yeah, let's do card to original enchants. Card is equal to card.getEnchantments select. Do I want to do the duplicate here? I don't think so. Get rid of this enchant to randomize. Get rid of this. We don't care about that. Min output tier. Probably don't want to randomize the tiers either. So we're basically just removing a lot of the randomness. Get rid of this. Okay, so we've got card to original enchants. I think that should just work. Oh, no, I need to make sure I do enchant dot duplicate. I don't want to preserve those enchants. Okay. Now I have to try this. Project settings. Let's actually go to my event types here. Enchant 4. When it comes to preserving ability types, there needs to be a better way to understand what is a poison ability or what is a fire ability. The tapeworm is a good example because while it uses the poison keyword, its ability is not a poison ability, making it unaffected by reagents, enchants, etc. Yeah, I think that's a good point. The thing is, like, this will highlight cards that it's applicable to. So, for instance, if I put this here and I put this here, that will not highlight that card when I hover over it because it doesn't contain a fire ability. That should work the same for the tapeworm as well, but I definitely agree that that could be made clearer for sure. Anyway, let's go enchant something. We'll just do the skeleton mage. Echo, look at that. Boom. So we've got echo there. Oh, this is enchant tier 1. Okay, well, we'll just turn cooldown reduced by 1. And we'll just do one more for good measure, I suppose. Maggot. Increases critical multiplier by 0.5x. Alright, now we should see that these enchants will be carried over when we do the alchemy. So let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, that's a legendary. Yeah, it's got echo. It's got that increased critical multiplier and turn cooldown reduced by 1. Look at that. Excellent. So I think that's working. I completely forget about the highlighting sometimes. So many things get highlighted all the time. It kind of gets ignored in my mind unless I'm checking for it specifically. Yeah, I definitely think there could be improvements there for sure. So we'll definitely take a look at that. There's a whole quality of life pass that I want to do on the whole game when there's time to do that. So yeah. Do abilities from a higher tier card that get added to another lower tier card carry over the upgrade status? Or do the stats get lowered because they're added to a lower tier card? Yeah, so the stats will get lowered. So the tier of the card determines the scaling of all of the abilities. So the abilities don't have their own independent upgraded status. The abilities are upgraded in accordance with what the card tier is. So yeah, if you took a tier 4 card and the abilities went down to a tier 1 card, all of those abilities would get knocked down to the tier 1 level. And that's because, again, the ability scaling is a card property, not an individual ability property. Okay, and now that that was mentioned, the next thing to do is to not randomize card tiers. So we're basically we're just making this a lot more stable, a lot more predictable. And then what I think I'm going to do is we'll leave the randomness in place in terms of like which new abilities the card will get. And then the rest of the alchemy, if you want more control over it, will have to be done through reagents. And I think this should actually balance out the game quite a lot. This should, again, like I've been trying to figure out how to get players to use larger cards. And I think the problem with the previous alchemy system, one of the problems anyway, is that it was just too appealing to just get a small card with a low turn cooldown. But now that the turn cooldowns are preserved, hopefully that will make it so that you can stack more strong abilities on a large card, and that will be hopefully more attractive in a lot of cases. But we'll see. We will see. Okay. So now we're going to preserve the tiers. All right. Actually, I need to go check on the cat. He's getting into something. So give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. All right. All right, time to preserve the tier of cards now. And then we're gonna have to figure out how to get an accurate count of all the negative abilities that are being added via Alchemy into the UI. But we will, Now, crit chances and crit multipliers are still randomized. Do I not want to do that either? So basically, I'm just stripping this down to be the only thing that's really getting randomized is the new abilities that are added to the card. Which may be fine. The problem with these crit chance and crit multipliers being randomized is that it's not entirely clear that that's happening. I think a lot of people miss that detail. Now, the problem is if I don't randomize these things, then I need to do something else with the dowsing rod. Because this just has a natural crit chance. Although I do have an idea for the dowsing rod. So maybe I'll just have to rework that a little bit. The dowsing rod is literally just an item with an empty, no abilities, but it has a 50% crit chance, since the idea was that if you're a clever player, you would just use the dowsing rod in Alchemy to potentially get a 50% crit chance on something, but I think I have a better idea for that if we end up removing the randomization of crit chance and crit multiplier. Making Alchemy more stable but keeping the randomness of abilities is a good idea. I think it would keep player engaged in Alchemy late game, eliminating fear of rooting, build defining cards. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I just don't want to push it too far in the other direction where it's like there's no potential for like pleasant surprises, you know? But I guess by still randomizing some abilities, it will do that. But we'll see. I'm clever, yeah. Anyway, what do I need to remove in here? Oh, we're going to not randomize the tier. So again, we're just going to do a dictionary in here. Private dictionary, base card to int, card to tier. And if I was really smart, card to original tier, I could just make these like all one object with a bunch of dictionaries stored in it. But that's all right. I don't care. I don't care. Card to original tier, and then we'll go down here. Card to original tier. Card is equal to card dot tier. Okay. We get rid of that. Okay, now we're going to do this. What is my upgrade event? Event type. Card upgrade 7. So we'll upgrade a couple cards. We'll throw those through Alchemy and we'll just make sure that that's preserving the upgrades. So we'll go, well, I don't want to do this just yet. Upgrade the rat. Okay. Rat, maggot, boom, boom. Rat should come out at tier 1. Perfect. Or tier 2, I mean. Cool. All right. I like that. We might as well just go all the way then. We'll just go, if we're going to make big changes, let's make big changes. Don't randomize crit chance, crit mult. So don't randomize card tier in Alchemy. Let's not randomize the crit chance. Get rid of this. So this also has the benefit of dramatically simplifying everything. Additional critical chance. So this would be input card dot base critical chance plus additional critical chance, so we'll just get rid of that. We get rid of this. Okay. All right, so this has actually been greatly streamlined now, which is great. I don't have so many different things being randomized. Now again, the dowsing rod is going to be a problem, but maybe we'll just go ahead and handle the dowsing rod right now. If this is feeling good, if this is looking good. Just kidding, I'm not. Could not make a broken build like the others. I think I don't make a good use of Swarm and Echo. I mean, I won, but not like that. Yeah, I mean, that's okay too, right? Because I have to expect that a lot of players who might end up buying this game are not going to be like super strategists, you know? And so I can't just build the game for the people that are just like learning the ins and outs of the game systems and like min-maxing, right? It still has to be enjoyable by people who can just kind of like roughly get by making a couple of good decisions. So I think that's totally fine. What am I doing? Randomize crit. Okay, so this is a 15% 1.5x. And that's got a 25%. So let's just put these in here. See what happens. So yeah, they preserved their crit chances. That's good. Just put the maggot in with some gold. Oh, that's not good. Dang it. I should probably fix that. The quick move is moving it to the upgrade board. Oops. Does the Viper really have a 15% crit chance? I don't remember that, but maybe that's true. It does not. So the Viper is ending up with a 15% crit chance. Why is that happening? I don't know why that's happening. Uh-oh. Oh, maybe the gold. Hold on a second. No, why is that happening? Also, that's going to be wrong anyway. Transmuted source card. Oh, I think I just need to change this. I think I just did this wrong. Instead of this being input card, this needs to be base card. Yeah, I think that'll work. Although I still don't know why. Why did the Viper come out with a 15% crit chance? I don't know. I don't know, but let's try it again. – 0%, 0%, 15%. Okay. I wish I knew why that happened because I'm not entirely sure that I fixed it, but it should be all right. Tapeworm 15%. Uh-oh. I don't think the tapeworm has a crit chance either. Nope. Why is that happening? Why is that getting a crit chance? The Phoenix, too, has a crit chance of 15%. Why is that happening? I didn't leave any code around, did I, for the crit chance? Nope. Huh. That's going to be a baffler. That's going to be a baffler for sure. This additional crit chance, this is not being assigned anywhere, I don't think. Alchemy critical chance modifier, some. Why is that happening? All right, let's put a debugger breakpoint on there. There are more ways to win without Swarm and Echo now, which is a good change of pace. Now the strat is Machine Gun Snail, Cat, or Hypercrit Zombie. Yeah. I played for 8 hours, so that's what matters. It was fun. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very surprised that people, like, I am honestly surprised that people are getting hours of enjoyment out of the playtest. I kind of figured people would go in and play it for like maybe an hour tops. But the fact that a lot of you are playing, even with the limited content and the issues that are still present in the game, and you're still playing for hours, that's a really good sign, I think. So, again, I'm going to try not to drop the ball here. Going to try to do right by all of you and give you an experience that is going to be a lot of fun. If I see anything with a 15% crit chance, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay. Is it because... Wait, does it only happen when I throw... Actually, let's see what happens if I just do this. What? Why are none of these crit chances? Shouldn't the maggot have a crit chance of 15? I don't understand this. What is going on? I am actually baffled. Put a breakpoint there and make sure that this critical chance is being set up correctly. Ups. Critical chance point 1. Am I losing my mind? Oh. The problem is I have the skull wand, which increases minion critical chance by 15%, so that would do it. But I also don't know where that point 1 came from. Anyway, that's where the 15% is coming from. Do you like my Elden Ring badge? Don't ask how I got it. Where is that? I don't see a badge anywhere. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I see that. I see it in the actual Twitch chat. I don't see it in my Social Stream Ninja app. Hello, Kangoo. I'm new here. I love this game you are making. As someone that's been a dev for 15 plus years, you're inspiring me to try some game myself. To do some game myself one day. Thanks. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Haven't managed to obtain many of these badges. Where does the additional crit chance get set? That gets set in the... That gets set in accordance with whatever reagents are in the board that add crit chance, so that was not a factor. I did check that, though. Now I can display my event. No idea where this came from, though. Interesting. The DLC, I didn't know that was a thing. Bonus streams are becoming pretty regular. Yeah, they're like... Hey, you know, it's a BOGO deal. Buy one, get one. I will say I'm looking forward to the possibility to save for playtime. With kids, it's difficult for more than 15 minutes uninterrupted. Yeah, so the save system is going to be one of the major things that comes next for sure. And that is going to be a nightmare to do because I haven't built the game with saving in mind. And I do want to allow mid-run saving too. Like one easy way to approach saving is just to say, the game is short enough, there's no mid-run saving. If you have to drop a run, oh well. That's kind of what I did with Gunforged, but for this game, I think it's going to be like if you have a really good run, but you need to go somewhere for whatever reason, or you need to leave the computer. I don't want players to have to feel bad about having to abandon their run because they suddenly had to get up from the computer or whatever. So definitely want to save it. Definitely want to have in-run saving. So that is going to be a nightmare, but we're going to do it. I do all my gaming after the kids go to bed. Yeah. Is there a difference between base crit chance and the actual crit chance that is used? Yeah, so the base crit chance is just whatever the natural crit chance of the item is, or of the card. So it's what I configure in the resource here, this critical chance and critical multiplier. And then there is a calculated crit chance that just sums up all of the crit chance bonuses. So the reason why this Phoenix has a 15% crit chance is because this Skull Wand is modifying it. By that point, I'm usually too tired and I'm working through Fire Valley C# course. Yeah, nice. It's the first week to around a month since I've taken a break to play anything, but too busy working on my game. Yeah, how is your game going? What would be the most difficult about adding saving this late into making the game? So I would need to serialize basically the entire map layout. So there's a couple of ways I could approach it. One thing I could do is I could store the map seed and then only store the nodes that have been cleared or visited by the player. And then I could just reconstruct the map from the beginning and just like mark all the nodes that have been visited as visited and then put the player at the last node that they were positioned at, so on and so forth. The risk with that is that if I ever publish a patch that slightly modifies the RNG, then you would load into a game that potentially has a completely different map generated for it. Which would be not ideal. So I don't want to rely... I think it's going to be too brittle if I just rely on rebuilding the map from the same seed. So I don't necessarily want to do that. I probably want to save like the entire thing that has been generated up to and including all of the node configurations and like what artifacts they're going to offer and so on and so forth. And then rebuild the map based on that. So that's going to be a problem. Like, there's a consideration of like, it's not just saving the state of the game. It's like, what happens if I push a patch that could modify that randomness in some way? So that's a consideration that needs to be made. What else? The abilities, right? So serializing what abilities exist on a card is going to be really hard as well. Because it's easy to reconstruct cards with their base abilities. It's not so easy to reconstruct cards with all the abilities that have been added to them. So that's going to be another challenge. And of course, saving the state of the board and which cards are where. Saving the artifacts that you have is not going to be that hard. Saving the currency that you have is not going to be that hard. Saving the health that you have is not going to be that hard. But, you know, there are other minor things too. Like if you put a death orchid into the alchemy pot and it increases the board size, and then you save the game and quit, then reload into the game, that state needs to be saved too, right? So there's just like a lot of things that, some things are very easy to persist to the disk. They're like just raw numbers here. The cards that you have and where they're at in the inventory, that's easy to persist. But when it comes down to like what's on each individual card and like, is the alchemy board, did the last alchemy involve a death orchid? And so we got to save that state too, as well as like reconstructing the map accurately to what you were playing. You know, those are all going to be the major challenges there. So yeah, that's basically the problem. And, you know, you tackle it one step at a time, I guess. The run I played during my live stream was 90 minutes, and I had to rush to the end because I had to go somewhere. Could have easily taken 2 hours. Interesting. In my playtesting, it usually takes me like 20 minutes to get through a run, but that's because I know the ins and outs of my game. Yeah, so taking an hour for a run or an hour and a half is definitely not unreasonable. My game is going well. The entire game flow is working in multiplayer, just working on the API my buddy will be using to design random events, ability shops. It's been a fun experience. That does sound fun. Yeah. It does sound fun. Fun. I assume I'm missing something, but can you somehow save the Godot runtime state? Maybe that doesn't solve the brittleness issue. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same issue, because if I just saved like the scene tree structure, right? What happens if I push a patch that changes something about how the nodes are constructed, like the map nodes? And if I just restore that scene state, then that could potentially just break the game, because I'd be looking for nodes that don't exist anymore, right? Or the node paths have changed. So that's brittle as well. Now, one thing to do is potentially just be okay with the brittleness and just be very careful not to push any breaking changes to the game. Or, you know, show a warning to players like, hey, the game version has changed since you last saved. So your save is incompatible. Either revert to a previous version or abandon the run. I don't want to do that either. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky thing. Are you planning to go with an early access release before the 1.0? I don't know yet. I don't know. I guess I just want to leave all my options open. If I go with an early access release, it would be basically feature complete, and the early access would just be a signifier that there's more content coming, right? But it wouldn't be like, hey, this is early access, so there's only like 25% of the content in the game. It would basically just be like feature complete in early access. And then I would just publish patches with more cards, more artifacts, maybe balance tweaks, stuff like that. If there was a major upgrade, I wouldn't be that upset about losing save games. It's mostly to preserve over a day or two. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So it's a question of how robust do I want the system to be, and how much can I say, well, you know, I'm not gonna over-engineer it so that it's like bulletproof in the case that I like dramatically change the map generation code, for instance, right? Like the new format for the stream? Awesome. Glad you like it, Real Cruda. I think it's a little bit more streamlined, pun intended. Welcome back to the stream, by the way. Faux Eden, what's your aimed goal for approximate length of a game? I think it's not unreasonable for a run to take up to an hour. I mean, if you're if you're very careful about your decision making and you're spending a lot of time thinking and like optimizing your build, then yeah, around an hour for a run is reasonable. But I suspect that a lot of people will be able to get their runs done, especially as you get familiar with the game. You'll be able to get your runs done in like 30 minutes. And if that's too long, I mean, it's always a possibility that I could compress the game down a little bit. Like, the map doesn't necessarily need to be the size that it is. So I could definitely compress it a little bit if it's too long. Play the tutorial and explain everything to my viewers, which took time, of course. Oh yeah, that's true, yeah. Runs currently take me between 45 to 90 minutes, depending. I could probably go faster, but then I would end with something less broken. Yeah. Depends on the wishlist count, right? Yeah, everything's going to factor in for sure. Everything's going to factor in. Minecraft breaks all kinds of stuff when they upgrade versions. Yeah, that's true. There's a level of not ever being able to truly preserve a run between patch updates. If you modify how an ability works or how Alchemy works, the run post-patch will never play out exactly the same. That is true too, yeah. But I think what I'm going to do, like, when the game is released, I'm going to be very careful about maintaining proper semantic versioning. So anything that doesn't fundamentally change how the game systems work will just be a patch version. And then anything that could break the game, like any changes to the RNG logic or to abilities, would be a minor version increase, right? I mean, I guess with games, it's kind of like you can't really use the major version in the semantic versioning, because like if I do Alchemortis version 2.0, right, then it's like, oh, it's a brand new game, right? No, it's not Alchemortis 2. So I think with games, more fundamentally, it's like you kind of have to restrict yourself to just the patch and minor version. But anyway, I think regardless of how I approach the save system, I am going to have to be disciplined with the minor and patch versions of the game, and just make sure that I'm communicating to people ahead of time, like, hey, there's a patch coming which is going to change things, so get your runs over with and then you know, whatever, and then download the patch. But we'll see. Those are all problems for future Firebelly. Okay, so I'm not randomizing the critical chance or critical multiplier. Cool. All right. So I do need to fix this negative ability thing. So we'll do that next. I have to say, though, like, I am actually liking stripping all of this randomness out of the alchemy. I mean, I haven't done any playtesting myself with it, but I think this is going to be a lot more fun. Because it's just like having the comfort of knowing that any abilities and enchants and the tier upgrade that exist on a card will be preserved no matter what gets added to it. I think it's going to make players a lot more confident in using their, like other people have said in the chat, using your more developed cards in Alchemy is now a much more attractive proposition than before. But you still may not want to do that, right? Because you may have a card that's like perfect, and yeah, it might be better with like one new ability or whatever, but you know, the risk of accruing negative abilities will at some point outweigh the reward of adding new abilities to the card, right? So hopefully, I mean, I hope that's how it goes. We will see. We will see. All right, now we got to fix this negative ability stuff. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and Gamba shivers are always nice. What is that? Every day I hear a new phrase that I just don't know what it means. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll try to get this UI indicator for how many negative abilities are going to exist on cards back into the game. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, BRB. All right, so our goal now is to determine ahead of time what the number of negative abilities will be, the negative ability range will be. And actually, maybe there's an opportunity to do this differently now that the alchemy is a little bit more predictable. So previously, when I do something like this and I add a bunch of cards here, previously what would happen is there would be text here that would say cards will have X to Y number of negative abilities. But I wonder now that alchemy is a little bit more predictable in terms of what abilities get added. I wonder if there's an opportunity to maybe show that on the card tooltips themselves. Would that be a good idea? So if I added like a little piece of text that says this card will gain or have 1 to 2 negative abilities added to it, would that be helpful, or would it still be useful just to put it down here as some text? What do you guys think? I meant suspense before hitting big or going back with nothing. Gamba equals gambling. Oh, gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Man, these kids are coming up with phrases I've never heard in my life. I actually don't know how old you are. Is it possible for each card to have a different negative ability ranges? Yeah, well, it depends on what the size of the card is. So larger cards will accrue negative abilities slower than smaller cards. So there's a card, there's like a hidden like a card stability. And so card stability is equal to the number of cells that the card occupies. And basically, so the maggot has a stability of 1, which means that it can support 1 ability before it starts accruing negative abilities. So that means that if I add 1 new ability to the maggot, then 1 new negative ability will be added. If I add 2 new abilities to the maggot, then 2 negative abilities will be added. And so, so like the Alembic, this can support 3 abilities before it starts having negatives on it. That's a little bit of a hidden system right now that's not really well explained. So that's a separate issue that I need to figure out at some point. But if a card is going to... So as the alchemy system stands right now, cards can only gain 1 to 2 additional abilities from the other input cards. So it's possible that the maggot could get the ability from the skeleton mage and the ability from the Alembic. And let's just run it and see if that happens. So it did not, but it got the Alembic's ability and it also gained a negative ability. But generally speaking, with the new system here, so the maggot could have gotten anywhere from 1 to 2 negative abilities added to it. I wouldn't mind the change. If you were going to do that though, it would be nice if it also showed you the potential outcomes as well, such as increased crit chance, guaranteed abilities, etc. Yeah. And that's the thing, that could end up being a lot of information too. And I would probably need like a different screen for that. Do you plan to help support modding or any sort of workshop support through Steam? No, not at launch anyway. If the game is very successful, then I'll investigate it, but that is a whole technical hurdle that I don't know how to solve, and honestly wouldn't be worth it unless I knew that there were going to be a lot of players to take advantage of it, right? So I promise to you that if the game is successful enough, then I will spend some time investigating adding mod support, even if it's a very basic level of mod support. But that is not a consideration at the moment, no. I think it makes sense to indicate the cards in the tooltip then, or to indicate in the cards tooltip then. I assumed when I was playing that every card would have the same chance of getting the negative effects. Okay, so maybe we should do that then. Let me think. So that means I'm going to need to break down the potential negative ability count by card. And I'm going to need to pass that into the tooltip somehow. How would I do that? So one problem with the card tooltip. So the card tooltip is here. It's in the root run manager node. So that is far, far, far away in the tree from anything that might want to supply information to the tooltip. So it's always a little bit weird when I need to get extra information into the tooltip. Add clickable control as mouse area. So I already did this kind of with the shelf here. Register card tooltip. So that's coming from the run manager context. What I could do is I could register, I don't know if it's proper to call them hooks, but I could register hooks from the card itself. So what I could do is I could detect when a card has been added to the Alchemy board. And then at that moment in time, I can add a hook to the card or something, which is a function that will accept a reference to the card tooltip. And then I can modify the card tooltip from inside there. Let me think. So card mouse events manager. Actually, maybe that would be appropriate to do in here. Card tooltip. Oh, wait, maybe not. So let's see. On card mouse entered. Disable global control. Is this ever used? Wait a minute. This might be able to be cleaned up here. I think this is the only place the card tooltip is used now. Show in file system, view owners. Oh no. No, yeah, I'm never using that anywhere. So let's get rid of this disable global control. We'll just clean this up. That doesn't need to be there. Oh, I just discovered a bug here too. To do if card tooltips are disabled in run, not work in character select. Actually, maybe that's not appropriate to put there. Let's actually log that as a real bug. Dang it, I'm trying to get this game finished and there's bugs keep coming up. This is horse. Oh, I'll let you finish the statement. Anyway. So much work to do. How am I going to get the information into the card tooltip? I mean, I guess I can. On card mouse entered for card. Hard mouse. Do I have like a register card in here? I do. Card connect, pre-delete, mouse entered, unregister card. Okay, so maybe this is the place to do it. This is a little bit weird, but I think this will be okay. So if I do private read-only dictionary, base card, then I do list, func, card tooltip. No, this can just be an action. Card tooltip hooks. I don't know if hook is the right word to use here, but it makes sense to me. So that's what I'm going to do. Register card. That's fine. Unregister card. Card tooltip hooks.remove card.base card. Okay. So we got to make sure to clean that up when the card becomes unregistered. And now what I can do is I can add a public method, public void register tooltip hook for base card action card tooltip hook. Let's change this. Value equals 0. I don't like using the value here. Hooks. Yeah, that'll work. So we can register these tooltip hooks, and then if I go to the card tooltip here, show tooltip. I'm using this on card mouse entered everywhere, but I kind of want to add let's just do this. Let's just grab this. On card mouse entered. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but we'll see. Just at card mouse events manager. Public invoke tooltip hooks. Void invoke tooltip hooks. Base card tooltip. Yeah, we'll try that. That, or you could add a card below the alchemy pot that shows the info, that info when you hover over the card. Oh yeah, I could do that. Add UI element below the alchemy pot. Yeah, maybe that would be the better thing to do. Maybe that would be the better thing to do, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I wish I would have read your chat earlier. Because the problem, I guess, with this approach is that if the tooltip is already long for the card, and then I put... I mean, let me think. I was thinking about putting that text at the end. Like, put it at the end of the abilities, but I could put it above the abilities. I don't know. Yeah. I am just gonna have to... Well, let's try with this approach. I can always undo it if I don't like it. Anyway. Card manager... dot invoke tooltip hooks card this. Alchemy container. This dot get alchemy manager. I don't know why does this need to be Yeah, I actually don't know if I'm going to go this route. I actually don't think I'm going to do this. The Alchemy container, I'd have to register the hooks and unregister the hooks. Okay. Yeah, I actually don't think I'm going to go that route. Sorry, everybody. We're going to undo this stuff. There are some changes here that I want to keep, but as far as this goes, we're going to remove this. Okay, I'm just going to take your suggestion, TK. I'm just going to use your suggestion here. So this card will gain 0 to 1 negative abilities. And these get replaced. These are like string format. I don't know what they're called. String format placeholders, whatever they're called. So this is going to be a lot easier, I think, because now what I can do is I can hook into this dot card mouse events manager. So we're going to probably want to bring that out into a variable, actually. Card mouse events manager dot connect card mouse entered callable dot from base card on card mouse entered on card mouse exited. We go all the way down here. Private void on card mouse entered. This is completely wrong. Thank you, AI, for trying though. On card mouse exited. Where was I actually setting this text here? Negative label. Update negatives. When is this called? Get negative ability data. Okay. So this update negatives, I'm going to want to pass in a base card here. Onboard state updated. That probably doesn't need to be there. And also this update negatives up here doesn't need to be here. Okay, on card mouse entered. Update negatives, base card, and then we'll pass in null for this. Update negatives, null. Now, this actually needs to check if board inventory component has card base card. Let's just do if not. So if the card is not contained by the Alchemy board, we'll just return. And then we'll do the same here. All right. So update negatives. Get Alchemy Manager, get negative ability data. This creates a new Alchemy input config every time, which is probably okay. Get negative ability data. I actually don't like this. Let's change this. Private void get negative ability count for card. Okay, so now I kind of have to recreate the logic that's in here. All positive abilities to add. Let's get rid of this. So the problem is, how do I get the negative ability count without just outright copying all this? And this is kind of why I merged a lot of the functionality into here before. But one thing that's kind of odd about this system is that it has to recalculate everything every time the input cards change, but there's also a little bit of randomness to it as well. But I obviously don't want that randomness to be accounted for when I'm actually just trying to get the negative ability count. So it's kind of weird in that I still need a lot of this data, but it's not exactly the same data. So for instance, the min and max negative abilities will be influenced by what number is chosen here for how many additional abilities the card is going to gain. So yeah, one potential issue is that the tooltip could block the info under the alchemy pot. Oh, right, that's true too. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky problem, but all right, well, let's just do a copy paste job. I'm just going to copy and paste this, and I'll just trim this down to what I need. If not input cards dot contains card, we're going to do gd.push warning. Card is not contained within alchemy outputs, or inputs rather. I'm just going to log this just in case this ever happens, but I don't think it's going to happen. Original abilities to take, so this will be the card.getBase composed abilities dot count. Original positive abilities to take. So positive ability count is equal to card get base composed ability where x not x dot is negative ability dot count. Oh, I can merge this into a single dot count. I keep forgetting that count can take a function that counts it up. Okay, var negative. I guess the negative ability count is going to be necessary. I don't think I need any of this. I don't need that, obviously. I don't need this, obviously. We need to look at the card to preserved abilities. So the positive ability count now, we're going to do positive ability count plus equals card to preserved abilities, card dot count. So we've gotten that one. Positive abilities to add. This is going to be plus 1 or 2. So let's just get this going first. Well, abilities from reagents. Let's add that one too. Positive ability count plus equals abilities. Oh. Reagent added abilities. I should probably merge this. Private list base composed ability. Get abilities from reagents. Okay. Var abilities from reagents is equal to get abilities from reagents. Now I can use that in here. Plus equals get abilities from reagents.count. So this is the total, oh, card. This is the total sum of all the positive abilities. Okay. So now the var base negative abilities, ability count, is going to be equal to mathf.max of 0 positive ability count minus card.cell count. I guess I can do minus negative abilities remove. So maybe this is min negative ability count. And we're going to take, well, actually, let's do this. Yeah. So we actually need to do this in a couple of steps. No, that's not right. Is that right? Card.cell count. So how many negative abilities are we going to have? Right, I think that's okay. So now in here, min negative ability count is equal to positive ability count plus 1 minus deducted negative ability count, var max negative ability count plus 2. Anyway, hello Clickertail, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Is this everything that I need to do? Let's just make this explicit. We'll do stability is equal to card.cell count. Put the stability in here. And then I don't think I need any of this. So do I want to phrase it as the card gaining additional negative abilities, or let's see. Yeah, I think I did phrase it as gaining. So we have the negative ability count here. So I think what I want to do is let's just return something like that. Min negative ability count. Shoot, because I'm also gonna, oh, this is not gonna work. I'm also gonna need like the change in the other direction, which actually is probably okay. Well, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I'm doing good. What about you? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Can't complain. I don't know how I'm going to handle the negative abilities to remove here, but let's just handle that in a second. Oh, right. This needs to just accept one base card now. Ah. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's see. I don't know. Couldn't that yield a negative number? Yeah, it can. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I want to just leverage the negative number to fill out how many abilities are going to be removed, but I may just do that as a separate step, actually. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a guy. Min negative abilities minus negative abilities to remove could be less than 0. Yeah. Yes, it could. This card will gain 1 to 2 negative abilities. That's not correct because there's only one ability it could be possibly adding. So that's a problem. I need to actually consider how many abilities are in the pool of abilities that are being added, because if it's only one, this will only have one ability. But this should still say 1 to 2. Should always say 1 to 2, and this one should also have 1 to 2. Okay. So that is working. Let me just do this. Oh, an aberration. That's the first time I've gotten an aberration during testing. Anyway, so we've got one negative ability here. If I put this on, this card will gain... Yeah, I'm not trying to say how many negative abilities there will be total, just how many it's going to gain. So in this case, it should say it will gain 1. So I do need to account for... Oops, did I have some errors? Oops. Alchemy Manager 176. Oh, that's not good. Alchemy Manager 68. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. 176. Oh, I think the problem is I need to not do this if is alchemy active. If is alchemy active or... Yeah. Give me 1 second. I need to plug in my mouse. It's dying. All right. Here I emerge out of the shadows. Oh, I've never got that. Yeah, it's a lower chance than the legendary output, which I may reverse, but we'll see. For now, it's all right. So I just want to make sure that I've fixed that error. Card is not contained within alchemy inputs. What the heck? Oh, that's not the right thing to use, actually. That's not the right thing to use. Oh, has initiated alchemy is what I want to use. What a mess. I got the aberration on my second run, nice. I think it's a neat little card. Might have to tweak it at some point, but that's all right. Really? How is this not present in the dictionary? I don't understand that. How is that not present in the dictionary? I just realized there's probably a bug here too. I don't understand this. I'm literally taking the cards. I'm literally right here. I'm returning early if the board does not have the card I'm hovering, and then I'm immediately passing the card I'm hovering into here, which is then grabbing all the cards on the board again and passing this in to get negative ability data. Input cards. And I'm passing in the input cards here. But then when I call this, if not input cards contains card, card is not contained within Alchemy inputs. How is that possible? I don't understand that. Am I just missing something obvious here? Oh, maybe the error's here. Maybe I'm just misreading the error. Okay. But no, it shouldn't be... Well, I don't know. Maybe if I just fix that error, that this warning will stop being pushed. Let's do card to preserved abilities dot try get value card out var preserved abilities preserved abilities dot count, otherwise 0. Okay, let's just try that. Let's just give that a whirl. Really? I don't understand this. How is this happening? Oh, wait a minute. Oops. I know why. It's happening on mouse exit. I'm passing in null here, but I'm never handling that case. That would be why. All right. I'm a decent programmer, I swear, everybody. Okay, so now we're not dealing with any errors here. But the tooltip, yeah, the tooltip could block this text down here. So now I'm not so certain that this is the right way to do it either. Yeah, maybe going the tooltip route is the way to go. Son of a biscuit. Maybe I need to put the information in the tooltip. Why is everything so difficult? How's the playtest going? It's going well. I think everyone is enjoying it, everyone who has tried it, you know, minus some bugs here and there and some balance issues, some quality of life things that need to be fixed. But I think people are generally happy with how the game is feeling, especially compared to previous playtests. So I'm happy about that. I've already got a bunch of good feedback, and that's only Patreon members have been playing it so far. So yeah, I think it's a good sign. I can't wait to see what, you know, obviously with the playtest being released to the public, generally speaking, anyone that wants to try it will be able to try it. Obviously, when I get to that point, I'm expecting a little bit more feedback, which is going to be good, but I'm largely expecting the feedback to be the same as what I've already heard. But we'll see. I mean, all feedback is good feedback, so I'm curious to see what everyone's experience is, get a larger sample size, you know what I mean? But I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I think it's going to feel even better when the next playtest rolls around. Because if my plan goes well, the next playtest will contain at least one additional playable character, so you'll be able to try that system. There will be further alchemy tweaks, further quality of life improvements, and then probably we'll start working on like a meta progression system as well and get that stubbed out so people can test that as well. Yeah, I think it'll be good. Trying and failing to get negative ability count working. That's great. Excited to buy this on day one. Keep up the good job. Thank you, Guy. I appreciate that. The tooltip is always to the left of the mouse on this side of the screen. Could you add a small indicator to the right of the alchemy board with the negative ability icon and the range next to it? That is an interesting idea. Outside the box thinking. I could put text up here too. Like I could just move that text up here. But I mean, if the tooltip is going to be the problem and you're going to be looking at the tooltip anyway, maybe the proper way to do this is to add this information to the tooltip. I don't know. I think probably I'm just going to have to play around with it and see where the information is best presented. I love how it can copy the negative abilities. That's so funny. I never anticipated that, but that's just a consequence of the system and how it works. That's pretty funny, actually. And not use the text below. Yeah, I think the text below is not going to work. If I'm doing it, because previously it would just show you the total range, so it was just always present. But now if I'm switching it to be, it will tell you exactly what the card you're hovering, what the range will be, then I definitely need to put that text somewhere else. Yeah, I don't know. The text above would get weird when you increase the size of the alchemy board. Yeah, I mean, we could test that too. Because the board can only go up to one additional row and one additional column. So I think what is that, 4x4? But we can definitely try it. Let's see, Death Orchid. We'll give it a shot. So this is what the board size looks like increased. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of room up there anymore. Oh, man. This is where, these are the kinds of things where game development is not super fun. Just like little UI things that you have to struggle with for a little bit to figure out like what's the best place to put it. It's not making a gameplay system, it's not making new content, it's like user experience UI stuff. I'm picturing just a delta 1 to 2 appearing next to the alchemy pot or even next to the tooltip. Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't really want to use the space up here because it already feels kind of cramped, and it's still going to be the same problem if I grow the board. There's going to be even less space on the left and right. Now, there's all this space down here. That's... yeah, that's wrong. That should not be there. I think either putting it next to the tooltip or in the tooltip is the way to go. Yeah. Yeah. Replace the down arrow. Replace it with the down arrow. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to do some more thinking on that for sure. But anyway, I've got somewhere to be relatively soon, so I'm going to end the stream there. But thank you again, everyone, for watching. Thank you for being here. Please check out the links in the description below. Those are all the places where you can find how to support me, and also, wishlist Alchemortis. Again, the playtest will be available for everyone starting on Friday. So there will be announcements, and I'm also planning to release a YouTube video on my main channel on Friday when the playtest is ready. So yeah, just keep an eye on everything. All the ways you can support me, again, are linked below. I'd appreciate it. You could fake add it to the tooltip by just adding info above the tooltip. Yeah, that could work too. Yeah, that could work. I don't know. I have to play around with it for sure. But anyway, thanks again, everybody. It was fun chatting with you all. Thank you for brainstorming and working through these issues with me. And I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you there. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.